Philip Dobard.
And I'm Tracey Mitchell.
And this is Culinary Quickies, a series featuring dishes that aren't necessarily quick, but the episodes certainly are. Tracey, I see an assemblage of beige.
Yeah.
What's the idea?
I'm making puff pastry.
Ah, okay. Well, puff pastry starts beige and ends up...
Beige.
Okay. Toasty brown. Okay.
Yes.
Very good. What's the idea behind this dish, this episode? What's our reason for being?
Well, we will be making a pastry made with laminated layers of dough and butter.
Laminated, not very appetizing.
Well,
but not with plastic.
Well, the whole purpose of it is to create a mechanical means of leavening the dough.
Okay.
So we're not using yeast and we're not using baking powder or soda. This method traps steam between the many tiny layers of dough.
Okay.
And that makes it puff up.
Ah, so the steam is the agent of puffery.
Yes, and it requires a vol au vent.
Okay.
So,
windblown?
Windblown, yes.
Windblown pastry.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good.
The name of that dish is oyster patty.
I love oyster patties.
Yes, and the vol au vent is a pastry shell or a patisserie from whence comes the name patty.
Ah, okay. Very good. Well, listen, I'm going to get wind blown and blow myself out of here. See you later.
First, we're going to make a butter block, or what's called a beurrage. Now, this is very important because the butter is the only thing that's going to help us separate the dough into those thin layers as we fold it many times over. Those layers have to stay separate, and you have to understand all butter has a little bit of water in it, and that water can make the butter incorporate into the dough, and we don't want that to happen because then we won't get those nice lovely flaky sheets. And those are very important in puff pastry because there's no yeast to make it puff up. It's only the steam. So it's very important that the steam get trapped between those layers. So what we're doing is combining a little bit of flour with our butter, and the flour will absorb that moisture and also make the butter more easy to form into a sheet and to stay in that sheet rather than crack up into the dough as we fold. We're going to take this butter and cut it into manageable pieces and then put it into the mixer with our flour, and we'll mix the two together until they're nice and combined and soft and pliable. I have a chilled quarter sheet here covered in some cling wrap. So we're going to offload this butter and flour mixture into this chilled sheet. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator to chill. At this stage, we're going to make the dough. You need a little lemon juice or white vinegar. Add our flour, salt, sugar, and we're just going to mix that up before we add anything else, so it's evenly distributed. And now the butter. I've got a cup of water here, cool water, and I need to measure off about a tablespoon of lemon juice. I'm going to add that to the water. And now I'm adding it to the flour. We're going to let this go for about 4 minutes and it will knead the dough. The mixer might fight back. It looks like it's a little dry for the dough, but give it the full 4 minutes and the dough will eventually come together and have a smooth and springy texture. Okay, it's been 4 minutes and our dough is ready. So just pull it off the dough hook. You can do this by hand, by the way, but it's nice to have a mixer. It's nice and soft and springy. At this point, we do the same thing that we did with the butter. We're going to put it in our pan and spread it out, cover it with the cling wrap, and then place it in the refrigerator and let it chill for about 45 minutes to, say, an hour and a half. Now we're going to roll our butter out to a rectangle, roughly 10 by 20 inches. I'm going to dust the surface with a little flour. Now let's get rolling. Now we'll set this aside and we'll roll our dough. So we're going to place our dough in the middle of our butter strip. And now we're going to fold the butter over the dough. This is an inverted technique. Normally, people fold the dough over the butter. But this is a new technique and I'm giving it a try. We've completed our first set of turns. This wrap and roll at this stage can look a little lumpy, but don't worry, it will even out. The next wrap and roll, it will shape up very well. But first we need to chill this for another 45 minutes to 90 minutes. I've wrapped and rolled twice more, one double turn and one single turn. Now I'm going to roll the dough out in preparation for cutting my pastry shell shapes. In this case, I'm making vol au vent and these are my cutters. Now I'm going to measure my cutter on the dough to see how many of these I can get. I'm making 4 large vol au vent. They are comprised of a base and a ring, and that will hold our filling. And it has a top, and this goes in the oven with an egg wash. It will rise up, and when they're done, we'll be able to pop that little top off and fill them. You can fill them with sweet or savory. And you can have the top off or put it at a sort of a jaunty tilt. They're fun. And try to be gentle because you don't want to stretch them too much. Cut cleanly and don't shimmy. You want to produce as little friction as possible because wherever you produce friction, the dough will adhere to itself too strongly, and then you won't get the puff of the puff pastry. So we've created our vol au vent. Now we need to make an egg wash. And a pinch of salt. So I'm going to lift off the top, place some egg wash in a ring around the base, reseat the top, egg wash the top, and then brush the sides. Our vol au vent are ready to bake, so we're putting them in an oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes, but keep an eye on them just in case.
So, puff the magic pastry. It's beige no more. This is beautiful. This is a toasty brown. This seems to have a particular shape. Is there a name for this shape?
Yes, vol au vent.
Vol au vent.
Yeah.
Windblown pastry?
Yes.
wind being the steam.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Very good. Which you discussed earlier. This is so gorgeous. Shall I taste?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Okay. All right. Very good. I'm just gonna pop the lid. Basically buttered toast, but glorious toast. Can you tell us a bit more about this while I...
Yes, well, I used an inverted method. Instead of wrapping the dough around the butter, I wrapped the butter around the dough.
Who wouldn't love that? Is that it?
Well, it's new to me, and I think it's good.
I think it works.
I'm definitely up for trying some more.
Okay, all right, yeah, me too. Now,
Okay.
when I lift this lid, I see that it's hollow inside.
Yes.
Might there be a missing filling?
Yes, there is a missing filling.
What might one put in here?
Well, one could put mushrooms, chicken,
Beef?
shrimp.
Basically a pot pie, right?
Yes.
All right,
Very
so,
much so.
so these are basically meat pies in waiting?
Well, but you could put sweet fillings inside them too, like cream,
Okay.
pastry cream.
All right. How about a thick, rich oyster stew?
I'm for that.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm thinking that what's going to happen on the next episode is you're going to make bouchée d'huître,
Yeah.
also known as...
Exactly. I know when you're jonesing, aren't you?
I am, for oyster patties. Can we look forward to that?
Sure.
Next episode?
Yes.
Shall we keep these warm?
Yes.
Well, we might have different shirts and whatnot, but
Well, actually, you can keep these refrigerated. You just have to put them in an airtight container.
so they keep.
Yes, they
All
do.
right, very good. So we'll look forward to that.
Yes.
Okay. We'd like to thank Melissa's Produce. They sponsor this series, although I don't think there's anything of theirs in evidence in this particular episode, but
Not yet.
not yet. Next episode. But we thank them for their support. Find us on social media. Like us on Facebook.
Subscribe.
To us on YouTube, the Center for Culinary Culture. We already know we're going to be back next time with oyster patties.
Yeah, oyster patties.
All right. Well, yeah, go ahead.
I'll explain later.
Yeah, she'll explain later. All right. Well, anyway, until then, bye.
Bye.